One of the stories nobody's talking about is your close ties to all the business leaders of America. You're seeing Jamie Dimon now. You have like FedEx CEO. So you have all the major business leaders now supporting Ukraine now with EBRD. And I think, Cargill was a major investor in Odile. How many more CEOs are you getting support from? The corporate leaders, the people who really can make the decision today to rebuild.
Sorry, I can now have more deliberate answers that I can.
Yeah, but you have Jamie Dimon here in D.C. He's holding the conference. He's your advisor on your Ukrainian bonds. You have FedEx. I mean, this is important because people don't really realize how many CEOs you already have. Yeah.
You can change our contacts and we can later discuss because you just.
I know. Mr. Dimon, I was just with Ukrainian Finance Minister Marchenko. J.P. Morgan's the closest with the Ukrainians as bankers, right? You did the $20 billion rescheduling, and now the roundtable seems. Sure. So your bank is like the closest to what's happening in Ukraine and the reinvestment in the front lines with Rothschild.
Excuse me.
Okay. Sure. All right. All right. All right. Did you meet Marchenko yesterday?
I'm thrilled and honored to have Minister Serhiy Marchenko, who is the Finance Minister of Ukraine, with us today. And so I'm not just winning the peace look like for Ukraine 5 years from now, Minister? What does that look like?
Thank you very much. 5 years from now, it's a good perspective, that we should look at this situation like Marco. Because if you envisage that war will end sooner than later, if not, it makes you nervous and disappointed. So it's better to prefer to understand this war can grab on, and we for 2023 expect that war will continue. And that's why it helps us to boost our energy and to get enough strength to fulfill this mission.
Okay. What do you need right now from the international community for you to succeed? It's easy. That's an easy question.
Yeah, of course, it's an easy question. Now we're here to discuss all our issues which we have. First and foremost, in how other nations can help our nation, Ukrainian nation, to win this war. And we are thankful and grateful for military support, and again for financial support. At this moment, we already received $21 billion as a direct concessional loans and grants in our budget. 50% of that is grant financing, so we need to have a debt stock and help us to live our debt for future. Again, for next year, we have deficit around 3-4 billion per month, less than this year, because we have done our homework. We make necessary compression of our expenditures. It's not an easy when you make tightening your expenditures, but again, we should do some stuff. We can collect revenues, and it helps us to show our partners that we could be reliable, that we could achieve success in government, and they can believe us in trust.
Okay, so there's been a constant refrain, and I agree with it, that Ukraine should be in the lead on reconstruction. How do we think about coordination issues within the international community, and how should that work? Because I think there's a lot of discussion about this.
I will split this question in two dimensions: rapid recovery for survival. And for next year, we drastically needed $17 billion as a whole to reconstruct our critical infrastructure. You know well aware that when I came here in DC, I realized that this missile attack in our capital, Kyiv, it was 80 rockets which destroyed and infrastructure. Yes, of course, there is no military attack. It was directly on civilian infrastructure. And we need money to restore it, to repair it. Now we're using our budget money, but of course next time we realize we should rebuild and recover all of that. So first dimension is our critical infrastructure, and second dimension is huge after-war reconstruction and development. And you know that World Bank DNA assessment they made, and they estimated our damages around $300 billion. And it means that, of course, it's a huge amount of money. It's higher than our GDP right now.
Yeah.
It's we need to build the capacity to get this money, and we expected that frozen Russian assets could be the source of such a rebuilding of Ukraine. So that's two dimensions, but I would prefer to talk about budget needs and already financial needs for next year. Reconstruction was to discuss, but it's maybe bigger discussion than critical one.
Okay, good. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here, Minister. Odile, thanks for being here. I think EBRD is one of the most important institutions, not as well known in Washington as it should be. I really appreciate you being here. I think it's going to get a lot more attention, along with the European Investment Bank institutions that are, the EIB is not well known in Washington. I think it's going to be, both your institutions are going to be a lot more well known. The United States is the largest shareholder of the EBRD. And so I'm really, really pleased that you're here. Let me ask you this question. How should the international community coordinate itself in partnership with Ukraine in reconstruction?
So, thanks for inviting me.
Of course.
On your question, it's clear that there is a need for coordination on both sides. There is a need of coordination, and I think on the Ukrainian government side, they already worked a lot on defining priorities, assessing the short-term needs, the medium-term needs, the long-term, and so forth. And this is a very important part, having a very well-structured partner in the Ukrainian government in order to have well-functioning administration. And I must say, what is absolutely amazing during that period is how the government and all the society function to be completely effective in dealing with the day-to-day activity. On the international community side, there is also a clear need of coordination. Because first of all, there is a lot of donors. There will be the need to mobilize everybody to contribute. Yesterday there were a meeting organized with a coalition of, and then it's huge amount of countries, so of course it's very important to have a common view. And it's also important to have a common view with Ukraine on what are the priorities in terms of financing, but also what are the priorities in terms of reform, transformation of the country, how to start with that, and so forth. So these two elements need to go hand in hand, both in terms of issues and in terms of structure.
Opportunities, what are the things that you're optimistic about? I'm very optimistic about Ukraine, but what are the things you're optimistic about?
I am optimistic because I believe that our country yet become independence, because a lot of countries different around the world look at us as semi-dependent on Russia. Now we have vigor, we have energy to show that we are able to be independent countries, and that's why next time we can show that we can build a strong country which can attract investment. We can show that we can provide good governance and to protect investment, because it's so important. Of course, I understand that wartime it's
hard to do reforms in wartime.
But my colleague from Ukraine mentioned that partly there is still European investment in Ukraine.
So I'm going to
It needs to be inclusive, so I think all supporting countries need to be part of it. The EU is likely to have an important driving role because, in the reconstruction process, because of the accession agenda.
I want to come back to that.
I think the accession agenda will be very important in the transformation of the country reform agenda, because there is all this acquis communautaire there that the country will have to take on board. But it needs to be, US needs to be, are very important players, as well as Canada and all the German countries plus beyond. because you see now support coming from everywhere. Norway been providing very strong support on the financial side. So this is complex. That means I guess that you need to have a sort of platform of coordination with everybody agreeing on a sort of roadmap, both investment and policy. The secretariat needs to be there, and you have to have implementation. And I mean, the bank, EBRD, can play a very important role in that respect in terms of implementation, but also contributing to, the policy dimension, policy work in the country.
So could I just give you a chance?
In March, or April, is to say, well, we are going to continue to support Ukraine, but we are a bank. We have a rating. We have a
AAA rating.
We have risk officers.
Yeah.
We need to manage our risk. This is our financial solidity. And so to do that, to be able to do that and still increasing our exposure, we asked for risk sharing with donors, and we got a lot of support.
So the United States showed up
from the US because they very quickly gave us 500 million grants to share the risk, to support our project in Ukraine. That really has gave some motivation to everybody, and we already had a bit of guarantees from the EU, but really only other countries really stepped up also. But the US and the EU were very important.
I'm very pleased that the United States showed up and supported EBRD.